you hear? Is this better? Is this better? Okay. So I'll start over. Let me thank the School of Gender Studies, and especially Mara Viveras, whom Gina Dent and I met last year in Bahia, Brazil. I'd like to thank her for inviting us to participate in the series of events today, tomorrow, and Friday. And I'm not sure how many of you were present at the amazing cultural event last night. It was really wonderful, wasn't it? So let's thank the organizers again. So I want to begin this morning by evoking the life and work of a Black feminist, poet, writer, activist in the United States. I refer to June Jordan. June Jordan. And when she was confronted with someone who was willing to support anti-racist movements and ideas, and perhaps even anti-sexist strategies, but hesitated to support and express solidarity with campaigns to eradicate homophobia, she always boldly asserted, justice is indivisible. Justice is indivisible. And because justice is indivisible, it cannot be reserved for some, but seen as unattainable for others. There are, she pointed out during her lifetime, that there are no hierarchies of justice and equality. Whoever embraces the practice of justice for one community must do so for all communities. Justice for racially subjugated people cannot be isolated from justice for people who are targets of discrimination by virtue of their nationality or their gender or their sexuality. And so justice for displaced people is linked to justice for indigenous people, which is linked to justice for LGBT communities, which is linked to justice for Palestinian people, and we can go on and on and on. So am I speaking slow enough for the translation? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So it's working? Okay, good. So I just wanted to check in. And so let me say once more, there are no hierarchies of justice. Our theoretical and practical framework of freedom must be capacious enough to include ever larger communities of living beings. And I would say both human and non-human. So our topic this morning is Black feminism. Oh, I can hear the translation now. And I want to begin by making the point that the academic theories associated with Black feminism and what we in the United States sometimes refer to as women of color feminism, these theories have always been deeply associated with Black feminist activist strategies. And I think that I can make this point most compellingly this morning by telling a story. And I'll begin with myself. Some of you may know that I was once in jail under charges of murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. I faced the death penalty for these charges, and people all over the world, including here in Colombia, became involved in the campaign for my freedom. Now, when I was in jail, someone brought me a newspaper. This newspaper had been recently created by a group of radical women of color. This is 1970. Since many of you were probably not even born then, I'll make a point of indicating the date. And the group that was producing the newspaper was called Third World Women's Alliance. The name of the newspaper was Triple Jeopardy. Triple Jeopardy. And across the masthead was written racism, sexism, imperialism. And of course the triple jeopardy to which the slogan referred was racist subjugation, sexist discrimination, capitalist exploitation, imperialist domination. So in 1970, the approach of this activist group was to consider the interconnections and imbrications of all of these modes of domination. And I mention this because this was long before the term intersectionality was invented within the academy. Now, as I said, the year Triple Jeopardy was founded was 1970. So I want to give you a little background about the newspaper and the organization with which it was associated. And for this, we're going to have to turn the clock back even further. We have to go back to the 1960s, and particularly 1964. 1964 was declared Freedom Summer. It was the summer when vast numbers of students and young workers from all over the United States decided to spend their summer vacation organizing against racism in the southern states. Specifically, they were organizing around the right to vote in Alabama, which is the state where I was born, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana. Now, at the grassroots level, women were the primary organizers. Isn't that usually the case? So this was true in the student organization, which was called the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And it was also true in Dr. Martin Luther King's organization, which was called the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. Now, everybody knows the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, right?
Sí.
Martin Luther, is there anyone in this room who has never heard of Martin Luther King? Okay, but what about Fannie Lou Hamer?
No, ni idea.
What about Ella Baker? What about Ruby Doris Smith Robinson?
No.
What about Joanne Robinson, who was really the woman who organized the first major event in the civil rights movement, the Montgomery boycott?